Thanks everyone for taking the time to join this morning. My name is Scott Wagner. I'm on the sales and business development team here at Eero. I've been here for about a year and a half, which is about 8 months longer than our product has been in the market. But since then, since we launched in February, we've made some big strides and have delivered a product that consumers are really, really excited about, and we're really excited that you guys are helping us get it out to them. Before I sort of dive into talking to slides, I'll kick it off with our brand video, just to sort of give everyone a sense of who we are as a company and the problem that we're trying to solve for customers.
But for this next one, I want to pivot a little.
Oh.
Why?
Is the Wi-Fi out again?
Maybe we should try moving the router. So good to see you again.
So good to see you too.
Yeah. So, the yard, the yard's taken a lot of work.
I'm going to show you how to extend the Wi-Fi signal throughout your house. Slide it on your wireless router, and you're good to go.
1000%.
Give it a sec.
You have problems.
Let's do this.
Sweet.
This is Eero. It's not a router, it's a Wi-Fi system. You place Eeros throughout your home to create a wireless mesh network that blankets every room in fast, reliable Wi-Fi.
Already in your inbox. Done.
Finally, Wi-Fi that works.
Generally speaking, what we're trying to deliver here at Eero is a pain-free Wi-Fi experience that consumers have been looking for, but just haven't been able to get since they first installed a Wi-Fi router, had a Wi-Fi router installed in their home. So the points we're going to cover today on our agenda: first, why we made Eero and what the modern home needs out of Wi-Fi. A quick technical overview of the product and how it's set up. Our Eero Pro program, which is specifically how we want to help you guys get the product in the market. The exclusive features that we've built for Pro. And then a Q&A just to cover any questions that you guys may have. And a disclaimer there, I'm not an engineer, but I do play one on TV, so I can, having been here for a long time, I've heard pretty much all of them, so I should be able to cover most questions, and if not, of course, I'm always happy to direct some questions to our engineering team if necessary, but hopefully that will be necessary. So starting with why we made Eero. Eero is a key piece of a toolkit for a connected home. If you think about what a modern connected home that you guys are probably seeing in the field today looks like, it's not just a smart TV and an Xbox and maybe a speaker in the living room where the broadband is delivered into the home. It looks more like this, where you have maybe a MacBook Pro and an Xbox running in the kid's bedroom, a smart TV and an Nest Cam in the master bedroom, Sonos everywhere throughout the home, Nest thermostats here and there, and of course iPhones and Android devices walking throughout the entire home. And all of those devices require great Wi-Fi to work. They all speak the same language, which is Wi-Fi. If you don't have a great network, then you're not able to enjoy the great content that Netflix or Apple TV or Roku is providing to your customers. They're not able to smoothly use Skype or WhatsApp or other video streaming or video communication services. Security and access control of devices, August, Ring, Nest Cam, or control and automation that you guys work with a lot, Control4, Lutron, Savant, Crestron. All of those things are only as good as the coverage and the speed that the Wi-Fi network in the home gives them. And that's been the missing piece for a long time. With Eero, we're aiming to plug that gap to make sure that all of the awesome experiences that these devices and content providers can provide is provided everywhere in the home. And why did we make Eero specifically? There are three main reasons. First, which I touched on a little bit, the one router model just doesn't work to cover an entire home in Wi-Fi. Physically speaking, an N router, last generation, got pretty good range and can go through walls pretty well. But the newest AC routers are trying to deliver a much fatter bandwidth pipe over Wi-Fi. But physically speaking, that 5 gigahertz signal has to go through walls and cover a lot of square footage that it's just not able to do. Also, it's a clumsy experience for consumers. You guys are setting up these things in the field, but if they ever try to mess with themselves, they would just not know how to do anything but essentially break it. And finally, routers out there today are ugly. It's bad for a few reasons. One, no one wants to buy an ugly product or have it in their home. But two, practically speaking, it creates another physical barrier between the router and the client devices that the customer is trying to use, because they take this ugly thing and they put it in a closet or a drawer behind the TV, which makes another wall that signal has to go through before it reaches the client device and inherently weakens the signal. So the way we've solved these problems is first by creating the first consumer whole home system. Obviously, as with a Meraki or a Ruckus or a Luxel network, you put access points throughout the entire home, and that allows those access points to reach client devices on whatever the best band is, whether that's the 2.4 band or the 5 gigahertz band. What's different about Eero is it's able to create that whole home system wirelessly. So the home doesn't have to be wired for Ethernet to be able to place multiple Eero devices, as many as you need throughout your entire home, to make sure that all the client devices that you want served are being served by enough strong signal with enough speed to allow all those connected devices in every corner of the home to live up to their potential. Eero keeps getting better. What that means is that every Eero device is talking to the Eero cloud very regularly, every 10 to 15 seconds. And that means that Eero is constantly checking for feature updates. We've pushed over 25 small unannounced updates that just marginally increase performance and close security holes. But we've also launched 2 major feature pushes, which I'll talk about a little bit later. What that means is that Eero is, the day that you put Eero in the home is the worst experience that it's ever going to be for the customer, because the next day and the day after that, it's going to keep on getting updates that make it faster, more reliable, more secure, and more richly featured. Eero is managed through a mobile app. So customers essentially can't hurt themselves by using Eero's app to change settings. It gives you all the information that a less tech-savvy customer needs right there on the home screen. And then allows them easy and intuitive access like they're used to with other mobile apps to the features that they want to use or to advanced settings if they are a more tech-savvy user. And then finally, the design piece. Eero is beautiful. It's about 4 by 4 inches, and it sort of has the Apple design aesthetic where it can fit in to any room without standing out. And that means that people are putting them where they need their signal and where the performance of the device is best, rather than trying to stick it in a drawer or a closet or behind a TV because they don't want to see it. Why hasn't anyone built this product for the consumer before? It seems like a pretty obvious product to build. It seems intuitively like it shouldn't be that hard, but that's the rub. Is building a Wi-Fi product is incredibly difficult, and the only way to do it in a way that works smoothly and seamlessly from the hardware of the device to the cloud to the app, all creating a seamless customer experience, is to build all of those hand in hand from the ground up, and that's what we've done at Eero. We have top talent. We have over 100 people in San Francisco, top talent from companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, Sonos, all sort of focused on designing from the ground up an awesome hardware, software, and cloud experience all together. And that means we can do things like proprietary routing algorithms. We're doing things with our mesh technology that no one else is doing. We've completely rewritten our operating system and the standards of mesh technology to most efficiently pass traffic throughout a network. And that means that your network doesn't get congested because too many devices are in one room, or all of a sudden, if everyone's streaming 4K TV, Eero automatically knows how to allocate traffic to make sure that everyone has the best experience. We've built the hardware, of course, from the ground up in terms of making it a beautiful form factor, but also painstakingly placing every component to make sure that there's no RF or radio interference from that compact form factor, and no loss of performance because it has to be so small. And having all that expertise in-house means that if the radio guy runs into a problem with the way the board's laid out, he can go over to the hardware guys and yell at them, and they can fix it right there in a moment, instead of having to iterate over 12-hour intervals with a manufacturing team in China, which is how you end up with every other router design out there. It's just too hard to create an effective Wi-Fi device with teams all over the world. But more important than all that is that customers love it. Here are a few examples of tweets that we've gotten from customers that installed Eero. And what's really exciting to us about all of these is that people aren't talking about it in terms of, I got this speed versus this speed, or, I can tweak this setting instead of this setting, or I can optimize this instead of this. They're talking about in terms of setup was super simple. All my dead spots are gone. This is just a great experience, and I can walk from one end of the house to my bedroom streaming Netflix in 4K and not have to worry about my Wi-Fi network. And the Amazon reviews prove that out. We have over, I think, 2,300 reviews now, and we're keeping a 4.5-star rating, which just goes to show how much the value proposition we're building actually translates to customers. We're also really well reviewed. We've got a ton of AAA reviews, which is not something you generally see in consumer electronics for Wi-Fi devices. Everyone wants to review the new smartwatch or the new speaker, but generally the new router just sort of comes out and shows up on Amazon. We got all the top tier reviewers to write up Eero, and they were all very, very enthusiastic about it. This was one of our favorite quotes. If internet access is oxygen, testing Eero has been like getting a new lung. So we're really excited that customers love it, reviewers love it, and it's proven out in the market so far. So that's sort of the customer perspective. From the integrator perspective, the value that we're delivering to you guys is obviously, it's a great product. It just works for customers. But where it really sets itself apart is that it's a quick 5 to 10 minute setup for however many Eeros you need, easily customizable to any customer's home. And at the same time, all of that is dead simple. So it's easy as installing an app on your phone, running through a quick setup process, which you can do, especially on the second or third or fourth try, as quick as that, and then not have to worry about getting calls back from customers that are saying, oh, this device isn't working, or my internet isn't working, when in fact it's due to a faulty Wi-Fi signal. Here's a quick look at the packaging of the product, just to give you a sense of sort of how we've spun out the design aesthetic from the product itself to the packaging to the custom power cable to the custom Ethernet cord. And so all of that is sort of spun together to build the central nervous system of the home. As I mentioned, all of the connected home products that customers are using today and more interested in creating a higher density of in their own home for tomorrow, all speaks one language, and that's Wi-Fi. And so we think of Eero as the central nervous system along which all of these different extremities of the connected home are communicating. Without a great Wi-Fi network, they just sort of go away. If a customer installs a smart TV in their bedroom and they have to sit through constant either low definition video or buffering from Netflix, they're just not going to buy any more smart TVs. They're not going to buy another connected device if their experience isn't great. And so this is sort of the plumbing that allows all of those new utilities to come to life, is a great, reliable Wi-Fi signal. So now we'll get into a setup and a technical overview. First, the question we get most commonly is, how is Eero different from a range extender? It's a fair question. I think that the most intuitive answer to that is, I'm sure you guys have dealt with customers who have said, my Wi-Fi just doesn't work. We've tried range extenders and they just don't work. Range extenders are bad hardware-software combinations. Like routers, they're built in China as a set of off-the-shelf parts sort of crammed into a shell without any thought as to how the software works with the hardware or how that device interfaces with the router at the center of the home. At its very core, it's just an interaction that hasn't been optimized at all, and that proves out in how customers have a lot of frustrations using a Wi-Fi extender and usually give it up. More technically speaking, there are three main ways that Eero differs from router and range extender combo. First, Eero can hop as many times as you need, whereas a range extender can only hop once. So for example, if you want to string a signal along a very long and thin house, for example, you can string a main Eero into another Eero, into another Eero, into another Eero, into the client, without worrying about signal loss and without worrying about having all those Eeros connect to the main one. Eeros can connect to each other, and as long as one Eero can see another Eero that's on the network, they can all be on the network. Range extenders can only take that first hop. So you can go from the range extender or router to the range extender to the client device, but you can't go from a router to a range extender to another range extender. Extenders also, almost all of them have only one radio, which means that they cut throughput in half as soon as they listen to and repeat a signal. Eero has multiple radios, which means that it can both listen to a radio signal from another Eero and talk to client devices at the same time. With only one radio and an old range extender, it has to listen, then talk. It can't do both at the same time, and that's why you have a major decrease in throughput. And then finally, and most visibly to customers, every Eero that's on the same network is broadcasting on the same network name, SSID, and password. So you can wander throughout your entire home and not worry about switching between networks. Whereas with range extenders, almost universally, they require you to manually switch from main network to main network underscore EXT or main network underscore 2.4 EXT as you move around your home, because they don't have the technology to seamlessly create one SSID with the base router. And here's how we sort of illustrate that first point I was making about multiple hops. We recently pushed a major software update called TrueMesh, and that's basically a rewriting of our operating system from the ground up to really take advantage of the strength of mesh technology. If you think about how other whole home solutions out there try and address whole home, they have one main router, and then every other router is what's called a leaf. They can communicate in one directly with the main, with the primary router that's plugged into Ethernet, but they can't communicate with each other. And what that means is that they're completely reliant on one connection. And if that connection is interfered with, isn't strong for some reason, if it's too far away, they can't optimize the traffic. They have to rely on a single connection. Whereas with Eero, every Eero in a network talks to every other Eero that it can see. So that means that if your third or fourth or fifth Eero can't see the primary Eero that's plugged into Ethernet, that's fine, because it can talk to intermediate Eeros and pass traffic around the network to find the most optimal solution for traffic to make sure that every client device is getting served by the best band and by the best Eero for wherever they are and whatever content they're trying to access. So we have a setup demo video here. I think that it's pretty intuitive, so we'll let it run.
Setting up your Eero Wi-Fi system is simple. This is a 3-pack, which is a great start for most homes. We recommend 1 Eero per 1,000 square feet. Start with the Eero marked Start. You'll connect it directly to your modem. Make sure you've downloaded the free Eero app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Disconnect and unplug your modem and existing router. Then connect your Eero to your modem using the Ethernet cable that came in the box and either Ethernet port. Plug in your Eero with the power cord. Finally, plug your modem back into power. The Eero app will automatically detect your Eero and help you set up your Wi-Fi network. Now, set a location to help manage your Eero and create a network name and password. Your network should be up and running in no time. The magic comes from having multiple Eeros placed throughout your home, so you're always close to one and have strong signal. In the Eero app, tap Add Another Eero. The app will guide you through placement. When you've found the best spot for your second Eero, plug it into power. The app will detect the Eero automatically and help you set it up. Repeat the same steps for any other Eeros you want to add to your network. If you place one of your Eeros out of range, the app will tell you to move it closer to another Eero. Eeros work best when they're within 40 feet of each other and out in the open, ideally on top of a counter, TV stand, or shelf. You want to minimize obstructions like walls, furniture, and appliances between them. Eeros like to be able to see each other. Add more Eeros as your needs change, or if you move to a larger home. And that's it. Your home is now blanketed with fast, reliable Wi-Fi.
Here's a quick overview of the product hardware. Looking under the hood of the product, it's not super actionable, but I think it's just sort of fun to see the guts of the product. Starting at the top, you see 2 Ethernet switch ports. Every Eero only has 2 ports, but there are multiple Eeros in the home. So essentially, instead of having a concentration of switches at one location, you have more active Ethernet ports throughout the entire home. And obviously, it's just easy to just set up a switch if you need more Ethernet ports at a single location. What's interesting about our ports is they're actually intelligent, so they will determine whether they're being used for input or output and allocate themselves accordingly. You don't need to worry about one being the input Ethernet port and one being the output Ethernet port. Also on the top is a power jack and a USB port. The USB port is non-functional, officially speaking. Unofficially, you can use it to do things like charge phones. Some people have had success setting up printers off of it, but officially, we only use it for manufacturing purposes, so it's not officially a functioning port. The other stuff here on this picture, you can see the gigabit Ethernet switch is the black square in the middle, and our Wi-Fi radios are the 2 on the left and the right. The curved aluminum pieces in the bottom right, bottom left, and top left are actually the antennas for those radios. And then you see a heat sink down there in the middle to suck up all the heat that's generated from blowing all this Wi-Fi everywhere. One note on Bluetooth. So people often ask, so what do we use the Bluetooth for? Right now, it's just for setup. So we, through the app setup, the way that works is you plug in the first Eero, and then it looks to pair with the client phone to conduct setup. So that's basically a very high security way to make sure that there's one and only one access point for the network. That's what allows Eero to be very secure as opposed to other networks. You guys may have heard of this big Netgear vulnerability that came out in the last few days. That's something that we don't have to worry about just because we don't have a widely available web portal for customers to manage their Wi-Fi. It has to go through Bluetooth. So let's talk about the Pro program specifically. So why would you guys be interested in Eero Pro? What are we doing to try and help support the integrated community? First, VIP phone support. So if you go into a customer's home, well, I should start by saying that we take great pride in our customer service team at large. We have 30 people in the US, staffed from 8 a.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Pacific every day. And we've had really, really great reviews of how our customer support treats customers and makes sure that no matter how unique or different their own particular network setup is, they are always taken care of, and they go out of their way to and are empowered to do everything they can to make sure every network setup works really smoothly. For you guys specifically as integrators, we have dedicated VIP support that cuts the line and delivers you directly to sort of the second level of agent, a technical agent, who will know it's coming from a pro and will be ready to answer more technical questions, again, about any kind of home layout, device load, connection type that you may run into in the field. As I touched on before, one thing that we've seen Eero do really well is enable every other connected device, every other piece of hardware that uses the internet, which is a lot of things these days. But practically speaking, that doesn't only make the customer experience better. It means that every other product that uses internet has a much smoother, better experience and doesn't need to be returned by the customer, and doesn't break because of Wi-Fi, which anecdotally we hear is a very large share of customer calls are unsophisticated questions like, this device is broken, my internet is broken, because they don't understand the difference between a problem with a client device, a problem with the Wi-Fi signal, a problem with the modem, a problem with the broadband provider. They just sort of attribute all of that to internet or bad Wi-Fi. And so having great Wi-Fi signal is a huge piece of reducing truck rolls, reducing calls, reducing returns on connected products. We also provide discounted pricing from distribution for the Pro channel. So you guys aren't paying full retail price at all. We are available, obviously, for you at a discount. And then finally, what we found is that the most effective way to get people excited about Eero is to put it in their own home. So for every pro that registers at pro.eero.com gets $200 off a 3-pack for your own home, just so you can experience it yourself and see, sort of get a sense for the magic that is Eero. So to do that, you just go to pro.eero.com and go through our authorized reseller portal. That'll sign you up. It'll get you set up with the special app that allows you to set up a customer's home on your own phone and then transfer ownership of that network to them, which we'll go through in a second. And then it also gets you that accommodation. So this is that what we call proxy setup feature. This is what, as I mentioned before, we use Bluetooth to set up a network for security reasons. One phone is matched to one Eero network, and that means that there's essentially no vulnerability in terms of hacking into an Eero network by falsifying credentials that you see with a lot of other routers, especially recently. This feature allows you to conduct that secure setup and then hand off that network to a customer that may not want to touch a setup for Eero at all. And so you don't have to ask to borrow their phone. You don't have to have them set it up themselves. You can set it up in their home and then hand it off to them at your leisure. So the way that works, these are just a few screenshots of the Eero app. We'll quickly show you how this flows through, but you essentially go into the menu, tap on that second to last option, switch network, add another network, and then just run a setup as normal. It takes 5 minutes. Once your network is set up, you can go back to that main menu and hit transfer network. And this is, again, a pro-only feature. This allows you to make sure that you allocate the right network name, give the customer's full name, mobile number, and email address. And then once you hit transfer, you have one more confirmation, and then it's officially transferred over to them. They'll get an email with all their network information, and then you can build as many networks as you need to using that feature. Another piece that's important about this is that this ensures that all your customers only get communication that should be directed at pro customers. For example, they wouldn't get email communications or promotions that are sent through our retail network or retail purchases. So they're not getting the same notifications about this discount at X retailer or Y retailer. They're getting communication specifically tailored to the pro customer channel. So we're just about done, but let's quickly recap why Eero. First is the basis building block, and that's whole home coverage. This is the thing that really enables a connected home, really enables a great internet experience for customers. It enables every other piece of hardware in their home, and it's been what's missing. And now that's why we built Eero. Is we basically took a Meraki or a Ruckus grade enterprise network, put all the brains in the cloud and in the app, and made it dead simple for installation and use by customers in the field. The app is easy to use for everyone. Again, from my mom to everyone out there who's just less tech savvy and isn't as comfortable with managing their Wi-Fi settings for fear of breaking everything on their network. Eero is built for them. It automatically updates, so it's always getting faster. It's always becoming more secure as vulnerabilities are found. They're immediately patched and pushed out to the field within 24 hours, and new features are pushed all the time. And finally, it makes all your devices better. Everything uses internet these days, and that internet usage is only as good as the connection. So that's what a great Wi-Fi signal provides.